Welcome to the science fiction universe. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with new stories. Now, let's begin the story. The twilight sky cast a perpetual blend of purples and oranges over the planet Zorn, its bioluminescent forests glowing with an ethereal light. The forest was alive with the gentle hum of alien insects and the soft rustling of leaves as creatures moved through the underbrush. The fresh, slightly sweet scent of alien flora filled the air, mingling with the cool, damp touch of moss underfoot. Elara, an abandoned Lyran girl, wandered alone through this vibrant yet perilous world. Her skin, marked by a mysterious, faintly glowing symbol, set her apart and made her an outcast. She struggled to find food and shelter, her resilience and survival instincts her only companions. As she moved through the forest, she encountered hostile creatures, their eyes glowing menacingly in the dim light. Elara's heart raced, but her determination to survive pushed her forward. She narrowly escaped their clutches, her quick reflexes and intimate knowledge of the forest saving her once again. Meanwhile, Kai, a human explorer with a deeply ingrained sense of justice, was observing the unique environment of Zorn. Having ventured far from his kind, Kai was driven by a need to uncover the universe's mysteries and to atone for a past failure where he couldn't save a life. As he documented the flora and fauna, he noticed Elara from a distance. Her solitary figure, the glow of her mark, and the vulnerability in her eyes struck a chord with him, reminding him of his unresolved guilt. Feeling an inexplicable connection and a chance for redemption, Kai decided to approach her, despite the potential dangers. As he neared, he saw the fear and caution in her eyes. "Who are you?" Elara asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "I'm here to help," Kai replied, his tone gentle and reassuring. He offered her food and shelter, his kindness breaking through her initial mistrust. "Why would you help me?" Elara's mistrust was evident, but there was a flicker of hope in her eyes. Kai's empathy and sense of justice drove him to protect the vulnerable. "Everyone deserves a chance," he said softly, extending his hand. Elara hesitated, her fear of abandonment and past traumas holding her back. But the warmth and sincerity in Kai's eyes made her take a tentative step forward, accepting his help. This moment marked the beginning of their bond, a fragile yet hopeful connection in the heart of Zorn's mystical forest. Kai led Elara to his camp, nestled among the breathtaking floating mountains. Waterfalls cascaded into the abyss below, the air crisp and filled with the scent of pine-like trees. A small fire crackled, providing warmth and light in the serene setting. Elara's initial mistrust and reluctance to accept help were palpable. She sat by the fire, her eyes darting around nervously. Kai sensed her unease and attempted to communicate, sharing stories of his travels and offering her food. Slowly, the tension began to break. As they shared a meal, the savory scent of cooking food mingled with the distant, soothing sound of waterfalls. Elara started to open up, revealing her story of abandonment and the mark on her skin. Kai listened intently, realizing the potential significance of her mark. "I think your mark is special," Kai said thoughtfully, his eyes reflecting the firelight. "It might mean something important." Elara's eyes widened, a mix of fear and curiosity on her face. "Do you really think so?" Kai nodded, feeling a deep sense of responsibility. "I do, and I want to help you find out." Elara hesitated, her fear of abandonment and past traumas holding her back. But the warmth and sincerity in Kai's eyes made her take a tentative step forward, accepting his help. This moment marked the beginning of their bond, a fragile yet hopeful connection in the heart of Zorn's mystical forest. As the fire crackled softly, Elara felt a mixture of hope and fear. "Thank you for helping me," she said softly. Kai smiled, wrapping a soft blanket around her shoulders. "We're in this together now," he said gently. "We'll discover the truth about your mark and find a place where we belong." Elara's eyes softened, and she finally accepted Kai's offer of protection. The warmth of the campfire, the softness of the blankets, and the unique, earthy taste of the alien cuisine Kai prepared created a sense of safety and belonging she hadn't felt in a long time. Kai then spoke of a place they needed to visit. "There is a council of elders, the Lyran Council," he explained. "They might know more about your mark and its significance. We should seek their guidance." As they settled into their makeshift camp, the bond between them strengthened, essential for their journey ahead. The trust and acceptance they found in each other would be their guiding light in the challenging times to come. With the decision made to seek out the Lyran Council, their path forward began to take shape. The Lyran Council chambers were nestled deep within a magnificent crystal cavern. The walls shimmered with light reflections, casting prismatic colors across the room. The air was cool, carrying a faint scent of minerals, and the elders sat on raised platforms made of polished crystal, their expressions stern and inquisitive. Kai stood before the council, his posture resolute yet respectful. Elara stood slightly behind him, her eyes wide with apprehension. She could feel the weight of the council's gaze, and the mark on her skin seemed to glow a little brighter under their scrutiny. Kai began his petition, detailing their journey and the significance of Elara's mark. The Lyran elders listened in silence, their expressions unreadable. As he spoke, the light from the crystals seemed to pulse, reacting to the energy in the room. When Kai finished, an elder with a long, braided beard leaned forward. "This mark you speak of," he said, his voice echoing through the cavern, "it is not to be taken lightly. It is an ancient symbol, one that holds great power and responsibility." Another elder, her eyes narrow with skepticism, spoke next. "How can we trust a human with such matters? Our history is fraught with conflict with your kind." Before Kai could respond, a sympathetic elder, whose eyes were kind and understanding, intervened. "Perhaps it is time we look beyond our past grievances. The prophecy speaks of a marked child who would bring balance. This girl might be the one we have waited for." Elara felt a surge of hope at the elder's words, but it was quickly tempered by the murmurs of dissent among the council. The conservative elders expressed their distrust and caution, warning of the dangers of involving a human in their sacred matters. Elara stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined. "I know I am different, and I know my presence here is unusual, but I believe there is a reason for this mark. Please give us a chance to prove ourselves." The council deliberated, their voices a mix of support and opposition. Finally, the elder with the braided beard raised his hand for silence. "We will not reject you outright," he declared, "but we will monitor you closely. Prove that you are worthy of our trust, and we may reconsider our stance." As they left the council chambers, Elara felt a mix of relief and anxiety. They had not been rejected, but their journey was far from over. Kai placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We did it, Elara. We have a chance." Elara nodded, her resolve strengthening. "I won't let you down," she whispered, more to herself than to Kai. The path ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay in wait. Leaving the safety of the camp, Kai and Elara ventured into the heart of Zorn. The path wound through glowing bioluminescent forests, their soft light guiding their way. Above them, the floating mountains loomed, their peaks lost in the perpetual twilight sky. Strange creatures lurked in the shadows, their eyes reflecting the ethereal light. Elara led the way, her intimate knowledge of the land proving invaluable. They navigated treacherous terrain, avoiding hidden pitfalls and dangerous wildlife. The air was filled with the eerie calls of unknown creatures, adding to the sense of peril that surrounded them. Their journey took them to the edge of a dense jungle, where they encountered a predatory creature. Its eyes glowed menacingly, and it let out a low growl as it approached. Elara acted quickly, using her understanding of the environment to create a diversion. She tossed a glowing plant into the creature's path, and it hesitated, distracted by the unexpected light. "Run," she shouted, grabbing Kai's hand and pulling him along. They dashed through the underbrush, their hearts pounding. The creature gave chase but was soon lost in the maze of trees and plants. Panting and exhausted, they stumbled upon ancient Lyran ruins hidden deep within the jungle. The ruins were overgrown with vegetation, massive stone structures partially collapsed. The air was thick with the scent of moss and ancient stone. Elara approached a weathered stone tablet covered in intricate carvings. "This place feels familiar," she said softly, running her fingers over the symbols. Kai joined her, his eyes scanning the carvings for clues. As they made camp, they shared personal stories around the fire, the warmth and light providing comfort against the encroaching darkness. Elara spoke of her life before being abandoned, and Kai shared his experiences as an explorer. Their bond grew stronger with each story, their trust in each other deepening. Decoding the ancient symbols and texts, they discovered hints about Elara's mark and its significance. The texts spoke of a child marked by destiny, one who would bring balance to their world. This revelation filled them with a sense of purpose and urgency. "We're not alone," Elara said suddenly, her voice tense. Kai looked up, sensing the same presence she felt. "Stay close to me," he instructed, ready to protect her. Their journey was fraught with dangers, but they knew they had to press on. The ancient ruins held more secrets, and the path ahead was filled with unknown challenges. Together they would face whatever came their way, determined to uncover the truth and fulfill Elara's destiny. The hidden Lyran village was nestled deep within a dense forest, camouflaged by natural surroundings. The air was filled with the sounds of village life, children playing, elders chatting, and the scent of cooking fires wafting through the air. Kai and Elara entered the village cautiously, their eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of danger. A sympathetic elder, recognizing Elara's mark, approached them with a welcoming smile. "You are the one the prophecy speaks of," he said, his voice warm and reassuring. "Come, we have much to discuss." Kai and Elara were led to a central gathering place where villagers curiously watched them. The elder shared knowledge of Lyran history and the prophecy, explaining the significance of Elara's mark. It was a symbol of great power and destiny, meant to bring balance to their world. As they spoke, a sense of unity and hope began to form among the villagers. They agreed to form an alliance, pledging their support to Kai and Elara's mission. However, not everyone in the village was trustworthy. One night, as the village slept, Kai and Elara discovered a betrayal by a trusted villager. This villager had been secretly communicating with rogue human scientists, leading to their capture. Bound and gagged, Kai and Elara were taken by surprise, their plans disrupted by this unexpected treachery. Determined not to be defeated, Kai and Elara devised an escape plan. Using their environment to their advantage, they communicated with loyal villagers who helped them break free from their captors. The rough texture of ropes cut into their wrists, but their resolve was unbroken. A tense escape ensued as they outsmarted their captors, utilizing the dense forest and their knowledge of the land. The sight of villagers aiding their escape in the moonlit night was a testament to their growing trust and unity. Once free, they regrouped and reassessed their alliances and strategies. The betrayal had shaken them, but it also reinforced the importance of trust and unity. They decided on their next steps, determined to thwart the scientists' plans and protect Zorn. "We need allies," Kai urged the villagers, his voice steady and commanding. "But not everyone can be trusted." Elara nodded, her eyes reflecting a newfound determination. "We must escape now," she declared, her voice strong and resolute. The villagers, now fully committed to their cause, rallied around them. The bonds formed through trust and shared goals were stronger than ever, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. In the heart of the village, Kai and Elara discovered an ancient Lyran library, hidden and forgotten by many. The room was dusty, filled with towering shelves of old books and scrolls. The air was musty, and candles flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. They began researching Elara's mark and the prophecy, searching through old texts and manuscripts. Hours passed as they pored over the ancient writings, their fingers brushing against the rough, fragile parchment. The soft sound of pages turning was the only noise that broke the silence. Elara found a crucial book that detailed the prophecy and the role of the marked child. As she read, vivid visions filled her mind, possibly triggered by her connection to the prophecy. The visions were intense and overwhelming, showing glimpses of the past and hints of the future. She could feel a strange energy within her, growing stronger as she delved deeper into the texts. "I saw something." "A vision," Elara said, her voice trembling with awe and fear. Kai placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "This book might hold the answers," he said, his voice steady. "We need to understand the implications of the prophecy and what it means for our journey." As they discussed the prophecy, they realized the threat they faced from outsiders who might know about it. The prophecy spoke of great power and responsibility, and they understood the importance of their mission. Elara also noticed subtle changes in herself, heightened senses, a deeper awareness of her surroundings, and the ability to influence small objects around her. We need to prepare for what's coming, Kai decided, his resolve hardening. We can't let them get to you. Elara nodded, her fear giving way to determination. I will fulfill my destiny, she declared, her voice strong. They prepared to leave the village, understanding the importance of their mission and the dangers that lay ahead. The musty smell of old books lingered in the air as they gathered their things, ready to face the challenges that awaited them. As they stepped out of the library, the villagers looked to them with hope and trust. The bond they had formed through their trials was unbreakable, and together they would confront whatever threats emerged. The path ahead was uncertain, but with the knowledge of the prophecy and the support of their allies, Kai and Elara were ready to face their destiny. Their journey was far from over, but they had each other, and that was enough to keep moving forward. Kai and Elara left the safety of the Lyran village, plunging into the dense, humid jungle. The towering trees and dense underbrush created a labyrinth of shadows and sounds, each step fraught with potential danger. The air was thick and sticky, and the distant calls of exotic, unseen animals echoed through the foliage. As they journeyed deeper into the jungle, the urgency of their mission grew. They spotted signs that rogue scientists were pursuing them, a faint trail of broken branches and trampled vegetation. The realization sent a surge of adrenaline through their veins. We need to set traps, Kai said, his voice low but firm. We can't let them catch us. Elara nodded, her eyes scanning their surroundings. She could feel the energy within her growing stronger, a strange connection to the jungle around her. They quickly set to work, using their knowledge of the environment to create diversions and obstacles. Kai's tactical skills and Elara's intimate understanding of the jungle proved invaluable as they laid out their defenses. Despite their efforts, the scientists were relentless. At one point, Kai and Elara narrowly escaped a trap set by their pursuers. The close call heightened their awareness, making every rustle of leaves a potential threat. As they pressed on, they encountered a Lyran warrior, a figure emerging silently from the shadows. His eyes were sharp, his movements fluid. He introduced himself as Thalos and offered his assistance, recognizing the importance of their mission. I know a way to stop them, Thalos said, his voice steady and confident. Follow me. Trusting the warrior, Kai and Elara followed Thalos through the jungle. Along the way, he shared valuable information about the rogue scientists' plans and motivations. The scientists sought to exploit Zorn's unique properties and its inhabitants for their own gain, driven by greed and a thirst for power. As night fell, they reached a secluded spot where they could rest. The humid air was filled with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, and the faint glow of bioluminescent plants provided a surreal light. Kai and Elara discussed their next steps with Thalos, formulating a plan to confront the scientists and protect Zorn. Kai's keen ears picked up the faint sounds of footsteps and hushed voices drawing nearer through the dense foliage. They're getting closer, Kai warned, sensing the urgency of their situation. We can't let them catch us, Elara added, determination in her voice. She felt the energy within her surge, ready to be used if necessary. With Thalos's help, they devised a strategy to turn the tide against the scientists. The trust they built with their new ally was crucial, and their shared goal of protecting Zorn united them. As dawn approached, they prepared for the confrontation ahead. The dense jungle, once a maze of shadows, now felt like a familiar ally. Thalos pointed towards an ancient set of ruins not far from their current position. The ruins, he said. We can use them to our advantage. They provide natural fortifications and places to hide. Kai nodded in agreement. We'll make our stand there, he decided. Let's move quickly. They headed towards the ruins, ready to face the scientists, determined to defend their world and uncover the truth behind Elara's mark. The ancient Lyran ruins loomed ahead, overgrown with vegetation and partially collapsed. The massive stone structures stood as silent sentinels of a bygone era, their surfaces covered in intricate carvings. The air was thick with the scent of moss and ancient stone, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Kai, Elara, and Thalos reached the ruins and quickly set up a defensive position. The ruins provided natural fortifications, with crumbling walls and hidden chambers that could serve as both shelter and strategic points. "We won't let them take you," Kai said firmly, positioning himself protectively in front of Elara. The scientists arrived shortly after, demanding Elara's surrender. A tense standoff ensued, the air crackling with hostility. Thalos and Kai devised strategic moves to defend their position, using the ruins' natural fortifications to their advantage. As the scientists breached the initial defenses, the conflict escalated. The ruins became a battleground, showcasing the desperation and resolve of both sides. In the midst of the chaos, Elara discovered a hidden chamber within the ruins. "There's something here. I can feel it," she said, her voice filled with an almost mystical certainty. Elara's newfound knowledge and emerging abilities came into play as she used the ancient artifacts to aid in their defense. The scientists, relentless and driven, pushed forward, but Elara's powers created a formidable barrier. "Hold the line," Thalos shouted, rallying their small group. The confrontation reached a dramatic peak within the ruins. Kai's protective instincts and strategic thinking were crucial, and Elara's quick thinking and use of her abilities turned the tide. The bravery and loyalty of Thalos inspired them all, reinforcing their resolve. After a fierce struggle, they managed to temporarily repel the scientists, buying themselves time to regroup and plan their next move. The hidden chamber revealed more about Elara's mark and its significance, deepening the mystery of the ruins and their quest. "We did it," Elara said, breathing heavily but smiling at their small victory. Kai nodded, his eyes filled with determination. "This is just the beginning. We need to uncover more about these ruins and what they mean for you." The cold, rough stone of the ruins under their hands, the echoing sounds of their battle still ringing in their ears, and the faint glow from the hidden chamber's artifacts all served as reminders of the challenges they faced. But with each step, they grew stronger and more united. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but they were ready to face it together. The ancient Lyran ruins, once a place of silent mystery, had become a beacon of hope and strength for their journey. Inside the hidden chamber, the air was charged with a mysterious energy. The walls were inscribed with ancient texts that glowed faintly, illuminating the space with an otherworldly light. Ancient Lyran artifacts lay scattered around, their surfaces pulsing softly in response to Elara's presence. Elara stepped cautiously into the chamber, her eyes wide with wonder and trepidation. Kai followed closely behind, his protective instincts on high alert. As they moved deeper into the chamber, Elara felt a strange pull, as if something within her was awakening. "Look at these carvings," Kai said, pointing to a series of intricate symbols on the wall. "They seem to react to you." Before they could delve deeper into the chamber's secrets, Thalos approached them with a serious expression. "I'll stay here and hold off any scientists that try to follow us," he said. "You two need to discover what's in that chamber." Kai nodded. "Be careful, Thalos." With a final nod, Thalos took up a defensive position at the entrance to the chamber, ready to protect his new allies. Kai and Elara pressed on, knowing that Thalos was guarding their retreat. Elara approached the wall, her fingers brushing against the cool stone. Suddenly, visions filled her mind, fragments of the past and glimpses of the future. She saw herself in different places, facing various challenges, and always, the mark on her skin glowed brighter. "I can feel it. There's something inside me," Elara whispered, her voice trembling with the weight of the revelation. She knew that the artifacts in the chamber were linked to her mark and her destiny. Before they could delve deeper into the chamber's secrets, the scientists breached their defenses. The sound of boots echoed through the passage, growing louder with each passing second. Kai and Elara exchanged a quick, determined glance. "We have to go, now," Kai urged, his voice steady despite the rising tension. The scientists entered the chamber, their eyes widening in shock at the sight of Elara surrounded by the glowing artifacts. "What are you?" one of them demanded, his voice tinged with awe and fear. Drawing on her newfound power, Elara raised her hand, and a wave of energy emanated from her, pushing the scientists back. The chamber seemed to respond to her will, protecting her and Kai from the intruders. They took advantage of the momentary distraction and slipped deeper into the ruins. Navigating the labyrinthine tunnels, they avoided traps and pitfalls set by the ancient Lyrans. The air was cold and damp, the sound of dripping water echoing through the passages. Kai guided Elara with a steady hand, his resolve unshaken by the danger they faced. Finally, they found a hidden exit that led to safety. Emerging into the fresh air, they took a moment to catch their breath and regroup. The scientists had been temporarily repelled, but Kai and Elara knew they would not give up easily. Elara's newfound abilities had saved them, but she still struggled to control the power within her. "I need to understand this power," she said, determination filling her voice. "I need to master it if we're going to succeed." Kai nodded, his eyes filled with pride and concern. "We'll figure it out together," he assured her. Their bond had only grown stronger through the trials they faced, and they were ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. The underground tunnels of the ruins were dark and labyrinthine, with bioluminescent fungi providing the only light. The air was cold and damp, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the passages, creating an eerie atmosphere. Kai and Elara moved cautiously through the tunnels, trying to find a way out. Every step was deliberate, every sense on high alert. The ancient Lyrans had set traps to protect the ruins, and they had to avoid them while also evading the pursuing scientists. "Stay close, these tunnels are dangerous," Kai warned, his voice barely above a whisper. Elara nodded, her focus intense. She could feel the energy of the place, the ancient power that resonated with her mark. She knew she had to control her newfound abilities to protect them both. "I can do this. I have to," she whispered to herself, steeling her resolve. The scientists were relentless, their footsteps echoing through the tunnels, getting closer with each passing moment. The tension was palpable, the air thick with the metallic taste of fear and urgency. Kai and Elara knew they had to keep moving, to stay ahead of their pursuers. They navigated through narrow passages, avoiding the traps with skill and precision. Elara's power flickered in response to the threats, helping them to evade danger. But the scientists were closing in, their determination unwavering. Finally, they discovered a hidden exit that led to safety. The faint, welcoming light of the exit appeared in the distance, and they quickened their pace. Just as they were about to reach it, the lead scientist confronted them, his face twisted with anger and desperation. "This isn't over," he shouted, blocking their path. The tension reached its peak as Kai stepped forward to face him. A fierce confrontation ensued, the high stakes clear in every move and counter. Elara used her power to create a barrier, protecting Kai and herself from the scientist's attacks. With a final, determined effort, they managed to push past him and escape to the surface. Emerging into a different, safer part of the jungle, they paused to catch their breath. The humid, fresh air was a stark contrast to the cold, damp tunnels. They had made it out, but the threat was far from over. Regrouping, Kai and Elara discussed their next steps, understanding the challenges that lay ahead. They knew the scientists would not stop, and they had to be prepared for future confrontations. But they also knew that together they were stronger. "Thank you," Elara said, her voice filled with gratitude and determination. "For everything." Kai smiled, his eyes reflecting the bond they had formed. "We're in this together," he replied. "We'll face whatever comes next." The path ahead was uncertain, but they were ready to face it. Their trust and teamwork had brought them this far, and they knew it would carry them through the challenges to come. As they moved forward, the significance of the underground ruins and Elara's power became clearer, guiding their journey. The secluded Lyran enclave was hidden deep within the dense jungle, surrounded by vibrant colors and natural beauty. The enclave was a place of peace and tranquility, a stark contrast to the dangers that lay outside. Kai and Elara approached cautiously, their senses heightened by the recent dangers they had faced. They were greeted by the enclave's leader, a wise and cautious Lyran named Lyra. Her eyes were sharp, reflecting a lifetime of experience and wisdom. She welcomed them into the enclave, offering a moment of respite from their relentless journey. "We seek refuge and support," Kai began, his voice steady. "The rogue scientists pose a significant threat, and Elara's mark holds great importance." Lyra listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "Your journey is known to us, and the importance of Elara's mark is not underestimated," she replied. "We will offer our support and resources to aid your mission." As they settled into the enclave, Kai and Elara shared their story with the villagers, explaining the threat posed by the rogue scientists and the significance of Elara's mark. The villagers, recognizing the importance of their mission, gradually offered their support. Through collaborative efforts, Kai, Elara, and the villagers worked together to uncover the spies within the enclave, strengthening their bonds and fostering a sense of unity. "There are spies among us," Lyra revealed, her voice filled with regret. "We must root them out to prevent further sabotage." Together, Kai and Elara uncovered the spies and captured them, preventing further betrayal. The process was fraught with tension and conflict, but it strengthened the bonds between them. Trust and unity became their guiding principles as they prepared for the imminent attack. The sound of rustling leaves and peaceful village life filled the air, creating a serene backdrop as they fortified the enclave. Makeshift barricades and defensive structures were scattered around, the sense of urgency palpable. "We need to stand together," Kai urged, rallying the villagers who had now become their allies. "United, we can defend this enclave and protect Elara." Elara's fear of more betrayals lingered, but she pushed through it, focusing on the greater goal. "We can't let fear divide us," she said, inspiring trust among the villagers. As they prepared for the upcoming battle, the vibrant colors of the enclave and the scent of blooming alien flowers provided a sense of hope and determination. They strengthened alliances and built trust within their group, readying themselves for the battle ahead. At dawn, the rogue scientists launched a surprise attack. The clearing on the edge of the enclave, surrounded by thick jungle, became a battleground. The air was tense, filled with the sounds of preparation and the distant rustling of the forest. Kai and Elara led the defense, their tactical skills and leadership shining through. The initial skirmishes were intense, with Lyran warriors and their allies maneuvering to protect their home. The acrid smell of smoke and burning foliage filled the air, mingling with the sound of battle cries and weapon clashes. "Hold the line," Kai shouted, rallying the defenders. The rogue scientists pushed forward, their desperation evident. In the thick of the battle, Kai clashed with the lead scientist, a dramatic confrontation that symbolized the larger conflict. The heat of flames and energy blasts scorched the ground around them, the rough texture of makeshift barricades underfoot. Elara used her powers to protect the enclave and support her allies. Her bravery and growing mastery of her abilities were crucial in turning the tide of the battle. Despite the losses and injuries among the defenders, they managed to repel the initial attack. "We can't let them win," Elara encouraged her allies, her voice filled with determination. As the battle raged on, Kai and Elara regrouped with their allies to discuss a counterattack strategy. The enclave managed to repel the initial attack, giving them precious time to plan their next move. The rough texture of makeshift barricades and the taste of sweat and dirt on their lips served as reminders of the cost of the conflict. "This is just the beginning," the lead scientist taunted, retreating but vowing to return. The sense of urgency and danger was ever present, but so was the resolve to protect their home. The enclave's battle traditions and tactics, showcasing their unity and resilience, were their greatest strengths. Kai and Elara knew that the battle was far from over. They would need to stay vigilant, ready to defend their home and each other from the relentless threat of the rogue scientists. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but they were prepared to face it together, their bond stronger than ever. The central square of the enclave, usually a place of gathering and peace, was now fortified with makeshift defenses. The air was thick with tension, and the remnants of previous battles scarred the landscape. The smell of smoke and burning foliage filled the air, mingling with the acrid scent of sweat and blood. The ground was rough and battle-worn, marked by the scars of conflict. Kai stood before the gathered defenders, his eyes resolute. "This is our last stand," he said, his voice carrying a determined edge. "We fight for our future." Elara, standing beside him, felt the weight of the moment. She had grown stronger, her powers more controlled, but the fear of the upcoming battle lingered. "We can do this," she whispered to herself, summoning her courage. The rogue scientists launched their final, desperate assault on the enclave at dawn. The initial clash was fierce, with heavy losses on both sides. The sounds of battle cries, weapon clashes, and explosions echoed through the square. Kai coordinated the defense with precision, demonstrating his tactical skills under pressure. Elara tapped into the full extent of her powers, creating a turning point in the battle. Energy surged from her, forming barriers and striking at the attackers. The sight of her powers in action inspired hope and determination among the defenders. In the thick of the battle, Kai confronted the lead scientist, a figure driven by ambition and desperation. "It ends here," the scientist sneered, his eyes filled with malice. Kai's eyes narrowed. "For you, maybe," he replied, engaging in a dramatic duel that symbolized the clash of ideologies. The clang of metal and energy blasts echoed through the square as they fought, each move calculated and fierce. Meanwhile, Elara faced her own struggle, trying to control her overwhelming power and use it effectively. The ground beneath her feet felt hot, the taste of blood and grit on her lips. She focused, channeling her energy to protect her allies and strike at their enemies. The pivotal moment came when Elara's powers shifted the tide of the battle. With a final powerful surge, she created a barrier that repelled the scientists, their forces scattering in disarray. The defenders, seeing the tide turn, rallied together with renewed vigor. The lead scientist, seeing his forces falter, made one last desperate attempt to strike at Kai. But Kai was ready, countering with a decisive blow that ended the duel. The scientist fell, his ambitions shattered. With the scientists defeated, the enclave was secured. The defenders stood amidst the remnants of the battle, the taste of victory and the cost of conflict fresh in their minds. They celebrated their hard-won victory, reflecting on the sacrifices made. As the dust settled, Lyra approached Kai and Elara, her expression a mix of relief and solemnity. "You both have done a great service to our people," she said. "Elara, your mark has indeed brought balance, just as the prophecy foretold." Elara looked at the mark on her skin, glowing softly. "I understand now," she said. "This mark represents not just power, but the unity and strength we can achieve together." Kai smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We've come a long way, and there's still much to do." Elara nodded, a smile breaking through her exhaustion. "We fight for our future," she echoed, the words carrying a newfound hope. The sight of the enclave rallying together, symbolizing hope and resilience, filled the square. The battle was over, but the journey of rebuilding and facing future challenges lay ahead. Kai and Elara, now seen as leaders and symbols of hope, began planning the next steps for the enclave. As they looked out over the gathered villagers, Elara felt a sense of belonging she had never known. "We're in this together now," she said softly to Kai. Kai nodded, his eyes filled with pride and determination. "And we'll face whatever comes next, side by side." Together they stood as beacons of hope, ready to lead the way into a new era for the enclave and the planet Zorn. The journey had been long and arduous, but it had forged an unbreakable bond and a shared destiny that would guide them forward.